Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you happen to be. My name's Paul. I'm also called Nik Nak. I'm generally noted for doing the daily teasers. Keep your eyes out for those. If you're subscribing to me, you'll see those float past. You might want to have a try at them. I also do or talk about films that I've seen and enjoyed. I also do the same for TV shows. And just recently, I've been watching Star Trek Picard, the most recent member of the Star Trek franchise. The series focuses on the further adventures of Admiral Jean-Luc Picard as he tries to find a mysterious young woman. Tonight is, it's 12:15 on what was a Sunday night and very early Monday morning, and I've just seen episode 3 of Star Trek Picard called The End is the Beginning. Let me try and give you a summary of it. The End is the Beginning opens with a flashback, days after the attack 14 years previously on Mars. It shows us Captain Picard in the wake of this attack, admitting to his then executive officer, Commander Raffi Musica, played by Michelle Hurd, that in order to keep the Romulan evacuation going, he's offered his politically iffy plan to Starfleet or his resignation. They've taken his resignation. Many years later, he is back on Raffi's doorstep, asking for her help in trying to find the mysterious Soji, who he's not found yet. It's help that Raffi is reluctant to give, having been unceremoniously kicked out of Starfleet in the wake of her former captain's leaving. It's help she eventually very reluctantly gives in naming the bad-tempered pilot Chris Rios, Santiago Cabrera, as the man to help Admiral Picard in his mission to find Data's daughters. Meanwhile, Soji, Isa Briones, I still don't know how to spell her or pronounce her surname. Please bear with me. Soji is still at the Romulan-controlled Borg Reclamation Project, and she's found out that the site's executive director is the recovered Borg, Hugh. If you followed Star Trek The Next Generation, you'll know Hugh from the episode I, Borg and Descent Part 2. He's the recovered Borg that was introduced as a mass weapon of destruction into a Borg cube. He's now a recovering Borg. He's had most of the prosthetics removed, and he's looking damn ugly. He wouldn't. Granted Soji an interview with their star patient, a Romulan woman called Randa, played by Rebecca Wasaki. She's a recovered drone, and a recovered drone who, during the interval, attacks and almost kills Soji, calling the latter the Destroyer in the process. Randa's not the only one to use the term. It's also used by the only survivor of a group of Romulan attackers that attack Admiral Picard at home. An attack that's defeated in part with the help of Agnes Girardi, the cybernetic researcher from the Daystrom Institute, played by Alison Pill. The Doctor's actions only confirms what she wants to do. She wants to help Admiral Picard find Bruce Maddox, her former mentor, and the man who seems instrumental in the creation of Dahj and Soji. This could get instrumental. Now, I get the feeling I know what you're going to ask me. You're going to turn around and sit down and say, Paul, stop yawning. Tell me, is the episode any good? Yes, it damn well is. We're seeing a shape to things, and it's a shape I think I'll deal with a little later. I wrote in my review of the first episode of Star Trek Picard that familiar characters were part of a spin-off serial's appeal. That's certainly the case with Star Trek Picard. It's built round the ultimate in familiar characters. And it's also the case with this episode of Star Trek Picard. The end is the beginning. We get to see Hugh once again. He's only featured in a couple of episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation. But he was one of those characters that stayed in people's memories. So seeing him back in the show and seeing which direction he's going in, that's a beautiful thing to see. There's also the appeal of the new as well, and of the potentially unexplained. Both of which is something we get to see in the very tormented Raffi, played by Michelle Hurd. The simple fact she calls her in that flashback scene at the start, she calls her commanding officer, one of the most respected captains in Starfleet. She calls him JL. That speaks of a wealth of backstory, of an incredibly close working relationship that, as we see, has gone wrong over the years. It's brilliantly set up. We've yet to explore it, but I'd like to see if we can explore that some more, because it looks like an interesting story. It strikes me that any notional Starfleet officer, and we've seen this a few times in Star Trek, that Starfleet officers are bold, upright, and absolutely bloody perfect. But we see in Raffi, a Starfleet officer who's gone to the dogs because she's been wronged. She's got issues. She's done time. She drinks. She smokes. And frankly, if she can treat a bottle of Chateau Picard like that, she's got a bit of a backstory to her. Please, if any of the producers of the show are watching this, develop that story. I'd like to see more of that. As for the episode itself, story-wise, it's picking up the arc and moving it forward beautifully well. I believe I said earlier there's a shape to it. Quite right. It's shaped like, vaguely, the Magnificent Seven, or possibly Blake Seven. We've got Captain Picard, Admiral Picard, I should say, putting the band back together, or putting a ship together, putting a small crew together to do a brave deed of daring do. They're going to play that gig. Yeah, I'm thinking of the Blues Brothers there, but they're going to play that gig. They're going to raise the money for the orphanage. They are quite literally going out to put 7 combative fighters together to save the village, in this case, Soji, from the attack by the Mexicans, in this case, the Romulans. We're only 3 episodes in, and it's shaping up very well, I think. John Lydon, the lead singer of the Sex Pistols, said at the end of a bad night, famously said, "Have you ever had the feeling you've been cheated?" At the moment, I would have to say, with Star Trek Picard going on these 3 episodes, no, we haven't. Let's see what happens the next time we watch it, shall we? Thank you for watching. Have a good evening. Take care.